Welcome to Speedrunner Showcase, the show that will hunt you down 8 months after your speedrun in order to get you featured as a guest. Today we are back with CMurder, someone who has been long overdue for a Speedrunner Showcase. And why don't you go say hi to our audience?
Hey guys, I'm CMurder. I am a marbled up speedrunner, mostly individual levels, but sometimes I dabble in RTA. Mostly when I'm pressured to do so, to be featured on a show. So I did this back in December, got a few runs, and this was my best. Looking forward to going back down memory lane, seeing all my mistakes, and chatting about the game. Thanks for having me, Age.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. I'm going to go ahead and start this video, and we'll get right into it. We have game audio and everything. This is great. Now, I mentioned that this Speedrunner Showcase is overdue, and not just because the run is 8 months old. Like, you've been a core high-level speedrunner in this game ever since it first released in 2018.
Yeah, I was one of the day one folks. Jay Roney actually told me a few months before this game came out that was dropping. I hadn't talked to him in probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 years.
Yep.
He hit me up on Facebook saying like, yo, there's a new Marvel game coming back up. It's the same developers. And like, I was instantly hooked and waited for day one. Day one hit and I played for like 18 straight hours.
Oh, yeah. Good times. I have good memories of that launch day, actually.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Nobody
you
knew anything.
you were on a lot of the boards and stuff.
Was new. Everyone was pretty much terrible. But it was awesome.
But obviously, as you alluded, you had previous experience with Marble Blast. I don't know if it was Marble Blast Gold or only Marble Blast Ultra, but tell me about kind of your speedrunning history and where you come from in the Marble cinematic universe.
Sure. So I got started in Marble Blast Ultra. I never really played Gold. I was in college when I first started. A little older than a lot of the community, so I started, I guess that was 2006. I was in college. I had a buddy who had Xbox 360. He had some weird marble game. He wanted me to play it. In the first like hour, I like basically lived in his room for like the entire semester. I'm like, this game is incredible.
Yeah.
There's leaderboards, there's forums where people are trash talking, and I was just hooked. I went back home for summer break, bought an Xbox 360, and just played it like nonstop. And I played it for like 2 or 3 years. I think I got to like top 5 in the world before the leaderboards got a little hacked or janky.
Right.
And I pretty much put the game away. I mean, every once in a while I would pick it back up, but I just sat dormant for 10, 11 years until I heard about this game, and then it was like the light switch went back on, and I was back in 2006 again, just grinding away, looking down at the time and seeing that 4 hours had passed, and I hadn't done really anything except for one level over and over again, and you know, it was a good feeling to be back.
Oh yeah, like you're one of the few people that I used to watch just doing individual level speedruns with your Twitch stream, and we'll talk about your Twitch stream in a moment. But yeah, you've done a lot of individual level running. You've done a lot of pathfinding. You found a lot of individual level routes, and you also even found a lot of RTA routes, which is interesting because you haven't done that much RTA running. Tell me a little bit, or at least full game.
Yeah, so I don't run it that often, but I do watch a lot of streams, even if it's just lurking. I feel like when you're watching, you can critique a lot easier because you're not mentally focused on the inputs.
Right.
So I would see a lot of things and just offer suggestions like, no, maybe this will work, or maybe this will work. And then I would kind of lab out my own stuff and offer it to the community. And luckily, a lot of it stuck.
Right.
There's stuff that I don't even do in my runs that I have come up with just because I'm not comfortable with it, but I just kind of throw the ideas to people that are real good. They figure out how to make it work, and then it sticks as a
I relate.
route or a tweak.
I relate so hard.
Yeah. Yeah,
but you are
you
really
find
good.
yeah, but it's also nice just to find it's like I think that this is a concept that may work. Here, you go figure it out, and I'll take credit for it.
Right. Yeah, there's a little bit of that going on too. It's but you know, so much of the process is collaborative, and you know, we've talked about this 1,000 times. Like, the routes that do exist, they can't really be credited to one person most of the time. And but if we do see anything come up that you actually discovered, make sure you butt in and point that out, because it's kind of cool to see those in the runs.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple that I can point out that I don't do. That's probably more obvious because it's just stuff that I found. It was like
Sure.
J2 or Hatchet. You know, you deal with it. This
Right.
is too difficult, and I don't feel like learning it.
Yep.
But for IL stuff, you said like you would watch me stream, and
I
have
specifically remember watching multiple streams and hours and hours and hours of Thread the Needle.
yeah, yep.
That one in particular sticks out as like it burned into my mind of watching you do that over and over.
My friends and my wife know that I have an uncanny ability to just launch myself at something for hours and fail and not care, which is why I like playing games like this or like the Dark Souls series or Celeste, you know, ones that challenge you to be awful.
I've never seen that before. Hold on.
Oh yeah,
We're
so
going
that's a
back.
route I came up with because I hated the current route.
What is that? Okay. Unique. Okay, you can get back to what you were talking about.
Yeah, so I was just saying that, like, you know, this game falls right in line with those where you die 99% of the time. But that one time that you do get a completion, it's worth the hours that you put into it.
Yep. You're one of the grinders, as far
Yep.
as individual levels are concerned. I could never do that, but you know, I can attest to that focus that you had even while you were on stream. You just like narrow in on what you were trying to do and land it.
Yeah. So this Thread the Needle might be the first iteration of what we see now. I think it's right after I found this with the super jump. Now everyone uses the super speed, which is faster, but this was still faster than the current.
For RTA, yeah.
Because I really did not like that super jump up to like the time travel area.
Yeah, with the wall hit. A lot of people didn't like that.
Yeah. I just wanted to find. So a lot of my tweaks, some of them aren't even faster, but they're more consistent. And for me, I wasn't going to put in a whole lot of time or runs. So I needed something that I could just kind of spit out quickly, get a time, and move on to the next level. So I did a lot of tweaking in that regard.
You're just the most relatable guest we've ever had on this show.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I found all these routes and I never do them because they're too hard. Or, yep.
Now this level, for some reason, has always come natural. I like rarely miss this.
Yeah.
No, most people, not most people, a lot of people have trouble. Since like day one, this is just
right.
I don't know why, it just works, and I don't question it. I don't think about it. I just continue to do muscle memory, and it continues to work. So I'm glad
that's
I've
impressive.
seen many runs reset there.
I think when I first tried that, it took me like a while.
Yeah. This level is the one that the current route is the one that I found, but I don't do it because it's tough.
Okay. Yep. I've done that one as well. It's just it's so inconsistent if you're not really precise about it. There is, I don't know if it's newer than this run, the other route for Icy Ascent, but honestly, it doesn't save that much time anyways.
That route is one of the coolest looking routes, though, the Icy Ascent. Super speed up to the second super speed route. I think it's awesome looking. I can't do it, but it's flashy.
Yeah. What? Oh my gosh, I thought you were about to get that. Oh, that is such a hard trick, and you went for it. And who found this? Was this yours?
This is my crown jewel.
Yeah. Oh, man. This is like the best RTA route maybe that you've ever found, because that saves so much time without being as difficult as the other one that you just nearly missed. And it's like the perfect backup.
Yeah, it allows you to go for that really fast route. cut to Off Kilter being the worst level in RTA.
It's okay.
As
We
a
can
race.
just skip 10
Luckily-
seconds ahead.
Yeah. but that when we were just talking about, it looks cool because you go backwards, so you never do that really in any other IL level.
Yep.
And somehow it just lines up perfectly. Like there's a pillar there for some reason that launches you straight up to the end. It just works out so well.
The only other one I can think of is maybe Contraption, if you consider that going backwards, but yeah.
Another one of mine.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just take things and look at them a different way, and sometimes going in reverse happens to be faster for RTA.
I love it. I love it. Ooh, that's
I
felt
fail
that pain.
so often.
You just gotta gnat your whole way through it, and it feels awful. But like, I see people
Yeah.
going through it fast, and I'm like, how do you not slip and fall? I don't understand. I always have to hesitate here.
It's one of those, like, if you nap bounce, you don't think you're gonna have enough speed, so you hold forward for like a split second, and then you go flying off. So this level, I remember vividly. I got a text when I was in this tunnel.
Okay.
And I looked at the text for a second and then freaked out because I didn't know where I was. So I thought that I was further down.
Oh.
So I stopped and I'm like, oh no, now I don't know what to do. So I just went in this hole.
You almost got the time travel.
Yeah.
Just to make up for
It's
it.
a really dumb way to lose like 10 or 15 seconds, but
Yeah, dying at the end though is definitely a worse way to lose 30 seconds. That's for sure.
yeah.
So yeah, good improvising of being able to back that up and actually survive to the goal. Now, Chapter 3 in particular, which is the one we're just finishing, you actually have done a decent amount of Chapter 3 RTA running, even if it hasn't been full game most of the time.
So I don't even remember why. It was the chapter that I picked for some reason on stream to do RTA attempts for, and been grinding it off stream for a while until I had the first, I think, sub 4. I think now it's been like shattered, but at the time it was pretty fast.
It was very fast at the time, yeah.
Yeah, I think I just chapter 3 is has a good mix of.
Hold on,
yeah.
We gotta watch that again.
I'll pause my statement for this.
No, yeah.
I want to say it was on purpose, but it wasn't.
Such a weird edge hit to get up there, and then an edge hit to get out of it.
Chapter 3 has a lot of cool looking.
It's flashy.
Yeah, they aren't necessarily the hardest, but they do look the coolest. So it's one that I just naturally gravitated towards and had fun playing for a month or so.
Well, I'm definitely an advocate for even if you're not like the most try-hard runner, to do the skips you like, because it's fun and it makes the whole process of RTA running way more enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game after all. Like, if you're not having fun, why run it? We've seen high-level runners in this game leave because they were burnt out, because it became an obligation almost to almost uphold their like excellence, and that's just not me. If I'm not gonna have fun,
Ooh,
there's no point. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I think I just took that angle either too wide or too fast.
I think I know exactly what happened here, and let me try to pause on. Yeah, you're gonna. You either got bananaed right here, to some extent, after the gem, or you were too far to the left. Yeah. Look at that right here. You want to be rolling off of this edge, and not this edge, but it sent you off to the right. Unfortunate, because you had a lot of good speed for that ending.
Yeah. I fail braid a lot for some reason. I don't think it's necessarily that hard. I just think I just have IL in my mind, so I go as fast as possible, and then it makes that turn a bit more dangerous than it has to be.
It's not automatic by any means.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's almost one of those, like, if you miss it and you stay alive, it's almost just as fast to reset, because you have to like roll around so far, especially if you don't know where you're going, like I do, because like I don't know the other paths of that level.
There is a backup that is definitely faster to go for than to restart, but It's also it's pretty close. It's not actually. It doesn't
Okay.
save as much time as you'd hope.
I missed the cycle here, so I just gotta do the slow way.
Gotta do the routes, you know. Again, the backup would be a different elevator. That's an experience thing, for sure, and that's something you don't learn ever from IL grinding, because obviously the backup for an IL is to reset.
Yeah, like most of the stuff I've learned just from watching people. So if they didn't do it, it's not in my mind to do it.
Yeah.
I can't
but
like pull it up.
talking about your lack of experience, you mentioned, I think before, you have like 6 completed runs in this category, which is absurd for a 37 spoilers minute run.
Yeah, in a stream that M2K was doing yesterday, we were just talking about it, and he said that live split keeps stats. So I checked, and it said I had 6 completed and 36 attempts.
Unreal. Obviously, chapter RTA runs do give you certainly some of that experience that most people don't have. But even with chapter experience, to get a run that good in 6 attempts is really, really impressive to me. I think it shows your caliber as a player to be able to learn this category that quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, also it's like I play the game a bunch, so a lot of these RTA routes are half IL anyway. Like,
Yep.
Like to start, like you kind of do the same things. Like I don't need to learn it. I only need to learn really this one trick and then finish it. So it's not really like reinventing the wheel. But yeah.
Right. Do you have a
But as
reasonable
we're talking
estimate
about
for your game hours?
I am almost exactly at 1,500.
Okay. So we're pretty similar, yeah, around that same kind of gameplay. Although most of yours was a little bit earlier in the game's lifespan, and not as much recently, I think.
Yeah, I put in a lot of time at the beginning, and a lot of it is the challenges. Also, I find those to be more.
Weekly challenges?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I don't think that they're more fun, but they offer. I like to out and pathfind, and at this point in this game, there's not a whole much else to find. I mean, we are still finding some things.
Yeah.
But each new challenge week with all the modifiers, it can be a backwards level with picking up gems and the checkpoints. Like, there's always something else to route, so focus a lot of effort there.
It is really cool, and I find maybe it's been a little bit easy to forget about weekly challenges, but they really do kind of offer that unique new content every week. And yeah, routing is really, really fun in weekly challenges, just like the rest of the game.
And Blue Teak actually released some stats. I don't know if you saw in the challenge thread. I had the most top percentage wins, apparently.
Really?
I thought that Snowboarder would have had it, but I guess he dropped off too early.
Yep.
The guy had 600 and some odd top percentage, which I think means top
600. Yeah. Wait, 600. Okay, so you can get a maximum of 5 per week, right? So that's a lot.
So, yeah.
That's what, 20 times 6? That's a lot of weeks.
It's get a life a lot.
That you're doing challenges every single week for 2 years to do that, and getting 1% on every level. I'm impressed. I did not know that.
Yeah, when he dropped those stats, I thought that it was wrong, but then I guess I was doing well.
Jeez. But yeah,
so I remember this.
All that pathfinding is so much fun.
Yeah. Somehow saved this. I had a hard bounce up top and just kind of threaded the needle, pun not intended.
Sometimes it just works.
Years. Yeah.
There's only so much you can do to control yourself in that situation. You kind of just your momentum's gonna take you, and hope that you're able to influence it properly. Well done.
So am I on pace at this time? Discord calls a little fuzzy. I can see them sort of in the red.
Yeah, we're
behind it,
44 seconds behind your previous personal best, according to the stats here.
So I know that I always had a ton of time to make up in chapter 5 and 6. So if I was like in 3 minutes of my personal best, which was like the 8 at the time or something, I would just keep going because I didn't have enough runs to really say like whether or not I was not going to get a new PB, so
Right.
I would just finish it.
Makes sense. It's another one of those experience things, but again, I don't think there's any question that if you were to devote yourself to RTA running, that you could be have a much faster PB than this. I think that goes for a majority of players, though.
Yeah,
That's not unique to anyone. Put in more time, get a better score. It's just how it works.
yeah. I mean, that's kind of how all speedrunning games are, unless you're some type of prodigy.
Exactly.
People who
So
put in the most time are normally the ones that perform the best.
So I am saying it, but I'm also pointing out that it's kind of meaningless to say. But we've seen what your potential actually is capable of with your routing, with your individual level records, which a lot of them stood for a long time. I think maybe the most memorable one of those for me was World Record Rampage 1 Pit of Despair.
Yeah, and I want to say that that was on purpose, but it was a complete on the fly. Like, oh my god, it's happening! Oh my god, it's happening again! I just edged it a third time. I hope that the platforms align, and they did. Like, this might be the craziest run I've ever done in my entire life, and it was like right before first Rampage too. Like, it only happened like a month or two before. Like, it was crazy. It just worked out so perfectly.
Such a good
It was
run.
a good way to end that Rampage.
Yeah, if you're watching this, look up World Record Rampage 1. It's on Knockouts' channel. And then the very last run there with CMurders. It's unreal.
I don't think I go for staying skip. I think I fake it
I
out.
would be sure. Yeah, I know that you don't. I haven't seen this run in a few months, but I did happen to see that in the thumbnail of you riding this platform. And you know what? I support it because this this route doing the shortcut here is kind of toxic for full game RTA.
Yeah. I think I tried it in the Super Bowl without any practice and like almost got it.
Ooh.
And that was like the last time I ever tried it.
I'm sure you've landed this before.
Yeah.
Just in a full game run is a different matter altogether.
But it's nuts how good people are at it now
Sure.
with RTA. Like, it's just part of the run for most of the top runners, and they don't fail it anymore, which 2 years ago would have been unheard of because
Sure.
we thought this was an auto-scroller for
Well,
so
when
long.
Katz's did it, it was unheard of, right?
Yeah.
To bring that into this category and to make it consistent. But that's the progression, the march of the game. And now we're seeing, people. Pit skip is kind of like a requirement for world record right now.
Yeah,
it's
know,
not
it's crazy.
But it feels that way sometimes. And
Yeah. A route that maybe 20 people have ever done in IL is now part of RTA. Like, it's crazy to think about.
yeah, exactly. But I really enjoy that, and I love seeing how this game's progressed. But I should ask, and this is maybe something that I haven't ever really talked to you about before, but are there other speed games or other competitive games, gaming ventures that you've had before that kind of been part of your gaming history?
So for speed running games, I used to speed run Super Mario 64 16 star.
Okay.
So I wasn't that good at it. Like, I think I got sub 20 once. It was fun. I mean, that was a game from my childhood, so once I saw that people were speedrunning that, I hopped on it, and it was cool. I did Sonic 1 for a bit, but it was honestly too hard for me.
Sonic is nuts. That is a hard game.
Yeah. I always equated it to how like Mario was, but Sonic 1 has slopes. So every jump is precise, and after about a month, I'm like, I can't do this. It was just too difficult.
It's almost more like Marble It Up in that way.
Yeah. There's that contraption route. Looks so cool.
That is so cool. And that was your invention, right? For the RTA copy?
Oh, so I mean, I think people had been doing it or trying it in IL. But I just
Yeah,
figured,
the
like,
individual
why?
level.
Yeah,
You
but like,
go.
why go out and get the time travel when you get enough speed? We can save time just by doing that in RTA, and it happened to work out perfectly. Like it was almost like it was designed for that. Like your jump
Yeah.
pattern worked out so good, and there's a platform right there for you to land on almost every time. It's just
I still can't do it more than like 10% of the time, but it is a really impressive route. And the fact that you have to stand still for like 4.5 seconds in order to make it work is just hilarious to me.
yeah. Back to the games. I'm currently playing Celeste, but that's just a casual playthrough. I never actually beat the entire thing, and then I'm a big fan of the Soulsborne, so all those difficult games, I always try to platinum trophy, and then Rocket League. I'm super into Rocket League also.
Oh yeah,
Not that good,
interesting.
not that good at it, but it's my late night. I don't care. Put on a couple games. Game.
So have you had the chance to play soccer in Marvel It Up Ultra?
Yeah, I did. I played a bunch when the second beta came out. I haven't played much recently. I know that people were playing it on Xbox and stuff. I'm looking forward. If I do dabble into multiplayer, it will probably be that game mode.
On Xbox,
It's just more unique. Like it's it's like something
so much
that's
fun.
almost like out of the box thinking. Like it's really not Marvel based, but it works so well.
Right.
Whoever thought about it or thought of that is like an evil genius, because it shouldn't work. It does work.
I appreciate having that mode a lot for sure. Were you a multiplayer Marble Blast Ultra player much?
It was not.
You weren't, okay. Mostly
No.
just speedrunning and raiding and stuff.
Yeah, so I probably would have been, but my internet at college was really terrible. So a lot of my IL records I had to do multiple times because they wouldn't actually upload on Marble It Up or on Marble Blast Ultra.
Right.
Which was super annoying. So if I tried to play
That sounds
multiplayer,
awful.
yeah, I would just get like so frustrated without being able to, like, it would be like the packet loss. So
Yeah.
there would be gems there that weren't actually there anymore. Like, screw this.
It was a long time ago. Internet on average has gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
It was like 2006 it came out. A lot of places didn't even have like DSL back then.
Yeah, I'm dating myself, but we're in college then. We had one internet connection in the room. I had to share it
You're
with
dating
our
yourself in
roommate.
college. That's a new one. I'm sorry.
Heyo.
Anyway, moving on.
Don't think I go for anything fancy here. I don't.
It would be kind of foolish to do that at this point in the run. You look like you're going to save maybe a little bit of time here compared to your old PB, but this is kind of the end of the old game, and now we're getting into Chapter 6. How is your Chapter 6 like as a whole?
It's awful.
It's awful.
It's terrible. Yeah. It's definitely the chapter that I have the least amount of practice in. Mostly because I am not a huge fan of super long levels, and there's a couple of them in this chapter.
Sure.
I didn't have as much IL practice, which in turn led to the RTA versions just not being as crisp and tight, so I make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
Not to say they're not cool, like there are a bunch of cool routes. I just never put in the time to learn them as much as I did chapters 1 through 5.
Yeah, but you're still going to save time over your previous PB here, which is definitely nice to know.
Because I mean, I think I had a few deaths in Olympus alone on my first PB, the 38.
Right.
So I always knew I had like a minute to save just from not dying as much. It's pretty clean.
That was a gold danger zone. I know you only have like a handful of attempts that have made it this far, but it was a clean danger zone run. And that's a cool start here for Platinum Playground.
I never could quite figure out the real start, so I made up that one.
Yeah,
It's
there's
slower,
a few
but
ways
I
to
can
do it.
Yeah.
I do it differently than other people as well. It's kind of
Okay.
you need to get a feel for it, which is kind of the worst one to teach people. Is like, oh yeah, you just have to figure it out and understand it intuitively.
Yeah. Just do it.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, well, I do it with a nat bounce and it works, and then everyone's like, why? How does it work with a nat bounce? And I don't know. You just do what works for you.
Yeah.
But that was good.
Wall gems.
This is actually, I think it's going to be a pretty solid chapter 6. I mean, looking at, entered at 2640 and knowing what your final time is going to be like, I would say this is going to be a fairly strong chapter 6 compared to most runs that we'd see.
I can't really remember where the major errors are. I know I have a death in Olympus because I always die at that one gap. I don't know why. I try to approach it from different areas, and I always just fall in this stupid gap. So I know that there's a death there, and I'm sure I have a few others. I am going to imagine I die instantly here because I never remember where to line up.
Well, either you remembered that properly, or it's just that common that it's predictable.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's funny. That is funny.
Shout out to Fletch.
Big shout out to Fletch. Yeah. Rest in peace, Fletch. Not really, but thank you for your service to this game and your lasting.
He hasn't died, for anyone that
No,
just heard that. We're the community manager, and he has left the scene.
Yeah, but we're grateful to him, and he is well known for liking this level a lot. Speaking of Fletch, you've been a part of this community a lot for a long time. Not just active as a speedrunner, but as a community member as well. And Fletch actually was able to interview you back in 2019 or something like that. But just like your community involvement in general, is there anything about that you'd want to talk about as far as beyond just speedrunning?
Yes. Back to the interview. So I don't have any world records, but I am the longest. What do they even call it? It was community spotlight. I am the longest community spotlight holder because I am the only one. I don't know if it'll ever be broken. It's running on 3 years now.
Untied world record for the longest and shortest community spotlight.
Yeah,
very funny.
Going back to the community, real quick, this is another one of my routes that was.
This is recent.
Plain sight. It was just in plain sight. I don't know why no one really thought about just doing kind of the IL and skipping the time travels.
Yeah, this has really changed the face of Chapter 6 for me. We can go back and watch that again. I mean, it's not really all that exciting to look at, but if you used to do the old route, then this is like a revolution.
Like, it doesn't even look like it's faster, but it is.
No, it's faster. It's easier. It's more consistent. It's easier to learn. It doesn't take as much time to burn it into your head. Like, this is, and this goes to show that your routing contributions, especially to RTA, have continued to be strong even when you weren't running RTA, or even when you weren't playing the game as much at the time when you came up with that one. So, very, very cool. We'd love to see it.
Getting back to the community, I was just going to say that when I first started World Blast Ultra, it was all forum based and voice chat. So having the Discord now, it just changed the game so much because people can share ideas and.
Yeah, I feel like there's a community that existed from the start. I mean, Marble Blast obviously has that community now, but from the beginning, this game had that.
It seems like a lot more of a collaborative effort than when I was playing 17 years ago, when it was hide your routes. As long as you were first, didn't have to have friends. Now it's more like you make your online friends and you all work together to find a solution to some problem.
Yeah, I love that.
Which is cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just this community in general. I mean, like I said, I play Rocket League, and that is one of the most toxic communities of all time. This one is like a complete 180, where say 99% of the people are friendly and supportive. I mean, they're not gonna call your mother names the entire time you're on stream.
Yep. But you know what? The game might raise in popularity in the future, and but we're still gonna kind of continue kind of fostering that friendly and welcoming culture the best we can.
And that's a good point. You know, it comes with the territory. Smaller indie games are gonna have a closer knit community, and when one person steps out of line, it's almost self-governed. Where a game like Rocket League or Call of Duty is just too big, and there are just too many creative people in the world to keep out of those player bases.
We'll stay on top of it as best we can.
Yeah, Olympus. This
is
my least favorite.
You haven't died up to this point in Olympus, so that's one thing. But yeah,
I think I've been very vocal about this throughout the lifespan of Chapter 6 that I cannot stand this level. Only because I suck at it.
Actually, I really think this is a wonderful level casually, and as for the individual level time, like, it's actually pretty interesting as well. And people have mixed opinions about it in RTA. Generally negative though for RTA.
Yeah, the people that love it. Like, there are some people that this is their favorite level and grind it all day. I just try to black out for 2.5 minutes and hope I don't die more than once and move on to Tangle.
This is like when we do not the Rampage, but the Super Bowl, and we ask everyone, like, what's your favorite level and least favorite level. This is like 80% of the responses for least favorite level is Olympus.
Yeah.
It's actually hilarious. I don't even hate it that much, but I enjoy the hatred coming from other people and getting to commentate on that. It's great.
Has this been deathless so far?
This Olympus is deathless so far.
I have to die somewhere.
I don't think that you will. Like, this is already pretty slow. Yeah.
It's just a really slow.
Yeah, you're at 35-13 already. You're probably not going to be losing much more time at all from this point forward. You're on a good pace. Like, yeah, you're on the pace basically to get what you end up getting.
We come out of Olympus and then into one of my favorite levels in the game of Tangle. I think it's just
so
it's just a cool design.
Uh-huh.
The tricks here are endless. Like, you had your community.
Yeah, the roading competition.
Yeah. It's endless. Like, if you added extra constraints to that, there are a million routes because there's 50,000 surfaces to hit off of. Just a cool design.
Yeah, it was almost sad that we found, like, such an optimal path on day one. It was like, there's so many other possibilities. Now what?
That's how I feel about a lot of these. Like, I almost feel bad for the level creators because there are some levels that we don't even look at 95% of the level because we just kind of have our 3 or 4 jumps and edge shit and we're in the goal. When there's all this awesome design and color scheme and thought put into it, but I guess that's the nature of speedrunning.
I like to think that gets appreciated by the wider audience. I like to think, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I like to say that I like to think things all the time that are not true, but yeah, like, skips are very, very cool, but the skips are for us, and I can definitely see how level makers may not always like them.
And that's why we always have our separate opinion when there's a new game coming out tomorrow.
Yep.
And we had a lot of input into it. And as speedrunners, we want
We did have a lot of input into it.
Yeah. There's also some compromise for, like, well, the casual gamer is not going to want to do this every time, so we'll put in rails here because they're going to fly off and they're they're not psychopaths like you. They're gonna get mad when it happens and not retry for 4 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching casual streams of Marble Up Ultra. For anybody watching on YouTube, this was recorded like a couple hours before Marble Up Ultra came out. In fact, somebody in chat is saying it's already out. So,
Merry Ultra Eve.
Merry Ultra's Eve, yes. But you're gonna get in here in under 38 minutes. So that was no gravity skip on Stratosphere was a surprise to me, but I guess like you said, you haven't had as much experience with these levels as you did in earlier chapters.
I know how to do it vaguely, but I saw that if I just finished, I would have beat my PB, so I just did the normal finish.
Right.
I think we had mentioned off stream, but at 38 was more flashy.
Mm-hmm.
It was because I had more deaths. I had to make up time, so I did a lot more risky routes that paid off. Just happened to be a slower. Right. This run happened to be faster overall because it was more consistent.
And so a 37.54 puts you very cleanly into, I believe, in the top 20, and even like maybe top 15 or something like that, which is a really, really solid run. Again, for somebody who hasn't specialized in full game runs, and kind of shows how much skill that you've accumulated in this game and in the Marble Blast games. Very cool to see. And then as well, even on levels that and routes that you're not super familiar with, like it's pretty easy to see why you're so well regarded in the community as like a good runner and a good player and just a friendly community member overall.
And as I said, like it's not that I dislike RTA. It's just when I get on to play, I find ILs more fun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a whole lot of time to play normally, so I just play what I enjoy. But I was doing this. It was refreshing because you don't have to be the fastest. You don't have to be the most consistent.
Yeah.
You have to have a blend of those two, and you can do fairly well with limited practice if you already have like the core muscle memory and foundation. So I didn't find it too difficult. I got this time. I enjoyed doing it. I don't know if I would do it again, but I did.
A lot of the fun, and I think some of your motivation as well, was in full game racing, because you participated in Superball and some other races as well. And would I be right to say that's one of the reasons that you learned the category and did these attempts in the first place?
Yeah. Because I didn't want to go into a race and just suck.
Because yeah, PB grinding in RTA can be really difficult and really challenging, but sometimes it's worth learning the category just to be able to do that in the first place.
And as you're saying it, like it allowed me to think about it in a new perspective, to come up with some routes that, if I don't run RTA, can help other folks pull out less of their hair if we could find something more consistent and easier. Because I actually went back and looked at DK's run recently.
Mm-hmm.
This run is still really good.
That first sub 40, yeah, that was so long ago. It was like July 2019.
Yeah, but there were some things in there that were just unnecessarily difficult for no reason, only because that's just what we knew.
Nobody had found anything better. And yeah, like I still have some hair left on my head, and I partially attribute that to you. And you know, I always say that when I go to the barber. I'm like, CMurder really saved me there. So thank you very much for that. And yeah.
Sure. But to just shout out everyone that has kind of been along this journey with me. Day oneers, to some people that came in late. People that I talk to more often than like my physical like home friends, because online, so it's easier just to chat and talk about whatever, you know, people's streams. Or just community. This game is nothing like nothing else I've really played. I assume most people that are going to watch this have played before, but if not, definitely spend the $20 involved. I mean, there's like an endless amount of content. We didn't even talk about any of the customs, but
There's so much to talk about.
yeah,
We won't be able to cover every aspect of this game in any speedrunner showcase, unfortunately. But
yeah, there's just so much. For this being a small development team, pretty low price, there is just endless content.
big shout out to the development team, Nartapolo, Todd, who is here in chat, as well as, of course, like Ben Garney, like, I can't really shout everyone out at the moment, but, Alex.
I mean,
forth,
even
and
our
others.
own community members are now part of the
Blue Teak.
Ultra team.
Yeah, it's so cool. Players who built their own levels and dev team just reached out and said, "Hey, come make some levels for us." And that's the kind of thing that you see in like maybe some stories like, I don't know, Sonic Mania had some of that. There was not something that happens all that often though. Very special, very special.
Shout out to Todd for making my marble. I think I was the first one.
Very cool. Yes. You don't have a webcam on this particular call, but we do have your face throughout the entire video, so that's kind of cool. Kind of cool indeed. All right. I think we're just about ready to sign off. So is there anything else you'd like to mention or anything else you'd like to say to the audience before we go?
I think I'm good. Just want to say thanks for closing out this classic era with me. Unless you have one more that you're gonna do in the next hour, I guess I'll be the
Not likely.
last. Yeah, I mean, you'll probably still be doing some more classic.
Classic's not going
showcases?
anywhere.
Yeah, I have a feeling that for the time being, everyone's focus is going to be on the new and shiny game that's coming out in an hour. I know I will be.
I know mine will, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, thanks for taking the time to talk with me. That's all I have to say.
All right, thanks for joining us, CMurder, and we will see you in Ultra.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.